Week 1, finally in the books. What a week, man. What a week. So glad football's back. We're about to break down the Monday night football game with my Bears blowing an epic. I can't even describe how fucking terrible the Bears are. Looked easy money. McCarthy looked like he was dead in the water. Literally, it was like, looked like a baby deer out there. And then Lee's 2 touchdown drives. We had 120 yards in penalties. Fucking embarrassing, man. We're going to break down all that. I'm going to go through snap shares. Every single player, not every player, but every team, notable snap shares. I got the list up right here if you take a look. Who was surprising, who played more than we thought, who played less than we thought. Kind of look beyond the box score, right? So it's easy just to look at the box score and say this guy had a good fantasy game. He scored 14 points. But, there's some guys that have scored less that should have done better. Some guys that, vice versa. So definitely on this, snap share is something I look at a lot. I want to watch the film as well, see how they look. But I mostly, this is one of the most important snap share shows we can do because we had a lot of unknowns, right? Jordan Mason and I played a lot. I don't have that snap share up. It's not released yet, but I would probably bet that Mason played 55% of the snaps. So he actually outsnapped Aaron Jones. So certain things like that are super important to pay attention to. We're going to get into it. I'm going to wait for a couple minutes for the people to join the chat. I don't want anyone to miss anything. When you guys join, let me know. Holler at me. Let me know you're here. Say hello. Say hello to my little friend. My voice is almost back. It's almost back. Unfortunately, doing these every night doesn't help. My allergies are so bad that I sneeze fucking 50 times a day. Oh. Only had 8 beers today, so I'm relatively sober. Relatively. Now, if I end up doing this for 2 hours, that'll change. Last night we were on for fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes. So to update our parlay, we did a combined parlay with the channel. Dude, we did a long shot, right? We hit the Caleb Williams 20-1 first touchdown, rushing touchdown. We had 3 other legs to hit. Hawkinson only had 14 yards. Lost that one. JJ McCarthy didn't get his 4 rushing attempts. Should have had it, actually. He had 2, but in the first quarter, he got sacked, a 1-yard sack where he was breaking out of the pocket, and he fell. So that would have been the 4. And then, of course, doesn't end up getting the kneel downs. So that sucked. But, we're on the right page because I hit that $10 to win $1,600 first touchdown bet parlay with Dalton Kincaid. And then, so that's Sunday night, I picked the first touchdown score. It was 20-1. And then Monday night, I picked 20-1 touchdown score. So we are on the right path to start making some big money. Unfortunately, Hawkinson sucks. He looked cooked out there, man. He didn't look his way, dude. Hawkinson got, I think, 3 targets. He looked bad. He looked old. He's only 28, so he's younger than Mark Andrews. He looked bad. Shout out to me in the comment section. Let me know who's all in here. We're about to get started with these snap shares. We're going to do a recap of Monday Night Football first. But let me know who's all in here, and we'll get started. So, taking a quick look at the box score here. I'm sure most of you guys watched the game. If you didn't, I'm going to fill you in. JJ McCarthy's numbers look bad. It was bad for about 2.5 quarters. But he's salvaged, man. They only let him throw the ball 20 times. I think what stands out to me here the most is Jordan Mason getting 15 carries. He played well ahead of Aaron Jones. I want to look at their snap share. I'm guessing it was 55% Mason. But 15 carries for 68 yards. Pretty efficient. Aaron Jones, 8 carries for 23 yards. He saved his fantasy day with a 25-yard wheel route for a touchdown. 3 catches for 44 yards. They're both flexible. You can put both of them in your flex. But I could see a world where Jordan Mason becomes the official starter, right? Where Aaron Jones becomes more of the 2-minute drill back, the third down back, the situational back. And Jordan Mason looked good tonight, man. He looked powerful. So pretty impressed with Jordan Mason. Justin Jefferson, man, what a bad game. He got lucky with it was an 18-yard touchdown. But you look at this box score, man, 4 for 44. I think he had 6 targets. It's not going to be – this is going to be a different offense, man. I don't see it being this this air raid system that Kevin O'Connell's been running in the past years. They're going to be more conservative. Their defense is elite. I know they gave up some points to the Bears tonight. Their defense is elite. Nobody else, though, besides running backs and Hawkinson 3 for 15, Jalen Naylor 1 catch. So until they get Addison back, like you're going to expect pretty conservative offense from Kevin O'Connell. So it's going to be concentrated on the running backs and Justin Jefferson. So I was pretty happy with what I saw from Jordan Mason. Going over to the Bears here, Caleb played well. He started off 10 for 10. So, I mean, if you take that away, he was 11 for 25 to end the game, which is not encouraging. And he had some pretty shit throws, man. We're talking like air milling guys by like 10 feet. Crust says, where do the Bears go from here? Well, I think we're going to Detroit. I believe it's a road game against Detroit next week. And you have an angry Detroit team. Kind of a revenge scenario for both teams because Ben Johnson's now with the Bears. I don't like our chances there. I would much prefer Detroit beat Green Bay. And let's be honest, Detroit got embarrassed in Green Bay. The score was 13-27, but it was not that close. They were losing by 3 touchdowns the whole game. And 0 for 2. 0-2, that's what Story says. Hey, Story, how you doing? It's not going to be pretty. I wonder what the line is. I bet it is it out. Story, can you check the line on the Bears game for me? I'm guessing. Here's my guess. Let's take a guess here. It's in. I'm gonna assume it's in Detroit because Detroit was just in Lambeau. So I'm gonna say Lions -4.5. That's my first inclination on this line. Detroit was -160. So what is that? Minus 3.5. Minus 3. I feel like it's got to be higher, man. The Bears did look promising this game, but they made some bad decisions. DK has Lions -4.5. Damn, bro, mine Oracle. Let's go. Anyway, Bears box score here and just what it looked like from my perspective. Story, please chime in. DeAndre Swift was the clear and away lead back. Monungai didn't even get a carry. He got a target. I think he got a catch. Monungai 1 catch. So I think this is positive for DeAndre Swift. We'll see if it changes if Roschon Johnson comes back, but I don't foresee that happening. So, yeah, YT says Caleb missed 2 throws and they should have kicked the field goal. There was a couple bad coaching decisions. Kicking that ball in the end zone and letting them return at the end instead of kicking it out of bounds cost us 40 seconds. So we got the ball back with 11 seconds. Terrible. Cruz says, that was yesterday. My guess Lions will go to -200 after today. It shouldn't move that much because, let's be honest, I know that the caliber of competition, I think that the Packers are probably better than the Vikings, and we were at home, and the Lions were on the road. But the Bears still looked better this game than the Lions looked, right? Would we all agree with that? Because the Lions look hapless, man. Like, their offensive line couldn't fucking stop a nosebleed. -225 now, wow. Yeah, it's going to be that's not saying that's not a must-win for either team. I feel like it's a must-win for the Lions because they have bigger aspirations than just like squeaking into the playoffs. Where the Bears, whatever, 0-2, whoop-de-doo, like we suck. Anyway, DJ Moore, like I predicted, played I think like 9 running back snaps in this game. 3 carries, 8 yards. Disappointing in the box score, 3 for 68, but he'll be just fine. He almost did just get murdered by Caleb Williams in that throw. Roma Dunze with a stupid cheap touchdown that cost me a matchup. Fuck your ass, Rome. I don't know why you're not running the ball there. Zacchaeus 4 for 42. Colston Loveland with a dud. That's a fucking dud, Colston. 2 for 12. So, are you guys dropping Colston Loveland? I mean, you can't start him next week, right? I got to look at the snap share when it comes out tomorrow or later tonight, but he seemed like he was out there a lot, but it wasn't promising. He didn't look great. He almost dropped his first catch. Nope, the Bears offense looked great when Ben Johnson was able to script the first 10 plays. After that, they fell apart. Hey, the Bears offense still looked better than the Lions offense, though, right? At least the Bears offensive line actually looked pretty good. Loveland only played 52% of the snaps. Cole Kmet played somewhere in the 70s. Damn. See, that's why I have story on here. Just so you guys know, tomorrow, getting my laptop, getting everything figured out. We're going to have Zoom calls. No more of this phone bullshit for the live streams. Mike Story, that handsome man that looks like a lawyer in that suit, is going to be joining me for most of these. On the screen, you can see this nice mug, his 8th grade haircut, all that shit. I got other guests that are going to come on. Might do some solo shows like Castaway, Tom Hanks style. It's going to be a great time. So, we have a great show today. We're going to go through every team snap share, just not every single player, but the ones that stood out to me, like RJ Harvey only playing 30%, for instance. I think Travion Henderson played 25% of the snaps. We're going to go and look through all that. We're also going to go look ahead to next week a little bit, answer all your questions along the way. It's going to be a good time. Have a couple beers with me if you could. Stay up late, whatever. It's what we do, man. Harold Fannin. Yeah. I didn't see the question from Landon. What up, Landon? Juwan Johnson or Harold Fannin in full PPR? I would say long term, definitely Harold Fannin, because there's a good chance Njoku gets moved at some point, or they just move away from Njoku. I think in the short term, you may be looking Juwan Johnson. Like I think I saw, we'll get in the snap share here in a minute. Juwan Johnson literally played 98% of the snaps. That's unreal, dude. Hey, I just said that. Mike Story, look at that. Yeah, Fannin. They use Fannin. Here's the thing: we always hear Sean Payton talking about this Joker role, right, with the Broncos and the Saints. The Browns actually used Harold Fannin in a Joker role, so like that's for real. They actually use it. They didn't talk it up. They actually did it. Brian says, "Is Loveland a bust yet?" No. I mean, he was always going to be a wait and see. You should have never drafted Colson Loveland as like your only tight end, and you should probably never started him week 1. You should have picked Loveland with a guy like Ferguson or Dalton Kincaid or someone that is more proven, that we knew was going to be more involved early in the year. And Loveland is more of a late season boom. All right, we're going to move to the snap share here. Yeah, good call from Story. Like, Fannin is the stash. If you need someone for this week, like Fannin could come out. Would it surprise you guys if Fannin came out and did 3 for 17? And I suppose Juwan Johnson could do that too. But I feel like Juwan Johnson's looking pretty safe to have like 4 or 5 or 6 catches. Ibuka to the Moon says, Oscar the Grouch, I love your name. All right, we're going to get into these snap shares here, gentlemen. Before I get into that, we did this yesterday. We got 46 likes in the video yesterday, but we got like 60 subs. Also want to shout all the new loyal watchers that have been joining this and joining all these streams. We're at 2,000 subs. Now we're well over 2,000, but it's been a nice snowball. It's been 4 years since we started the channel, but the last like 3 months, specifically the last 3 weeks, it's really gone up since I've been doing these live shows. Anyway, first 50 likes and the first 50 subs to this video all qualify for a free $10 bet. I'm gonna find your information. You're gonna email me. I email you. Whatever. You pick your bet for next Sunday. It could be Thursday night's game. Whatever. I place it for you on DraftKings. If you win, I Venmo you the money. No risk to you at all. Good way for me to give back. I'm not a rich man, but I'm not a smart man. That's Forrest Gump. Not a good impression. I did just win $1,600 on just one parlay yesterday, a $10 bet. So I have a little bit of income to give back to the crew, right? Is the good doctor on tonight? The good doctor, TB. I don't know. I haven't seen TB. What's up, Greek boy? Not much, man. Just having a couple beers. Gonna kind of dive deep into these snap shares and see what matters, what doesn't, what's surprising to us, team by team. So we're gonna start with Washington. We're gonna go down the alphabet here. Very surprising to me was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. His stat line was dope. It was like 10 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. He played a lot more in the second half, but if you see, it was only 33%. This is going to slowly rise. So I'm not trying to say I'm selling JCM and his performance, but 33%, like, are you guys trusting JCM next week as a flex? Like, are you confidently starting him in PPR, expecting 12-plus points? Washington has, I think they play Thursday night, actually. They play the Packers. So that's a tough matchup, man. They just shut down the Lions. Both running backs. That's Jahmyr Gibbs. So are you guys trusting JCM? As we see, he played 23 snaps. Not terrible. Terry McLaurin played the most, 79%. Nothing really to break down there. Zach Ertz played 64% of the snaps, of course, has a touchdown. Brian Payton says you should. So you're saying we should trust JCM? Again, guys, only 4 likes. We got up to 50 likes and 50 subs on this video, giving away a free bet. So no risk to you at all. So you're saying you're going to trust JCM? Like, would you start JCM? Here's the good one. JCM or Javonte Williams this week? Full PPR. Javonte has the Giants. Yeah, the Giants. Tough matchup next week, so not then, but otherwise, yes. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of how the snap shares. Well, Peyton says Williams, obviously, but I don't think it's that obvious in terms of like the fantasy community because people fucking love JCM, bro. They love him. All right, we're going to move on to the Titans here. He has 90% of the runs. That's damn straight he does. Okay, on to the Titans. We have Tony Pollard. Look at that. Domination, 89%. Nobody else played over 11%. Julius Chestnut, who sounds like a made-up motherfucker, 11%. Calvin Ridley, I think here's the biggest takeaway I have from this. Chikakonkwo had a couple drops. I was touting him as a great best ball play all year. I'm not worried about him. 88% of the snaps. Gunnar Helm played 23 snaps to his 50. So Gunnar Helm looks okay. He's a bit more of a blocking tight end. But Alec Iomanner, we're going to get into this on tomorrow's show, the waiver show. This is a guy not a lot of people are talking about. Me and Story were talking about Iomanner back in the NFL draft. We love him out of Stanford. Super athletic, super great X receiver. Tyler Lockett played 33 snaps. He played 45. Now, his stat line was not great. It was like 7 targets, 2 catches, and 15 yards. So that's not ideal. But he had a call that was overturned that should have been like a 25-yard catch. He had a drop that was a pretty tough contested catch, and he had another one go through his hands. Again, this isn't something I'm ringing the guy's endorsement, but it would have been a 30-yard catch, really good defense. But that was also against the Broncos. So 7 targets, playing all the snaps. He's got the juice. He's playing ahead of Tyler Lockett. So this is the guy to stash on your bench. You could play him in a pinch in a deep league. And if anything happens to Calvin Ridley, God forbid, you're looking at the number 1 receiver for the Titans. Now, Cam Ward did not look, his numbers were trash. It was awful. It was a typical first game performance for a rookie. That was like the most hostile environment ever to walk into. His receivers didn't give him any help. First game. I still have a lot of faith in Cam Ward. He's a gunslinger, man. So I expect a lot of games where he has 250 yards passing. That has to go somewhere. We got, I'm probably out of the matchup. He's also going to be an early down guy. We got Williams. Iomanner is a sleeper. Yeah, dude, he's a guy no one's really talking about. On this channel, we've been talking about him. I actually have him, believe it or not, rostered in 4 leagues in my 25 as my last bench spot. It was between him and Pat Bryant. Luckily, I chose him because Pat Bryant, we're going to get into that in a minute, barely played. Although I like the talent in Pat Bryant, but Sean Payton's a fucking lying asshole. Moving on, nothing else really to cover here. Tyler Lockett, if you were holding on to Tyler Lockett, get the fuck out of here with Tyler Lockett. You're out. You're done. Tampa Bay. Bucky Irving. So we were sold he's a workhorse back. A lot of people doubted it. He's a workhorse back, baby. 76% of the snaps. Stat line wasn't great. We don't care. This is a good game, at least in terms of usage perspective, right? Igbuka, 93%. So Ibuka's an every down player. So his stats actually were, besides the 2 touchdowns, were a little underwhelming. Only 6 targets, 4 catches. I expect more. Maybe not 2 touchdowns. I don't think the touchdowns will. He doesn't really profile as like a high touchdown guy. He's going to have 1 every other game, whatever. But I expect more usage, 8, 9, 10 targets a game when Baker throws more. So this just reinforces what you saw on the field and where he's at in the depth chart. K-Dot, 86%, didn't have a catch. Not too worried about him. Rashad White, though, I would say I expected Sean Tucker to play more in this game. He did not. But I still think there's a chance that Sean Tucker may be the actual lead back if Bucky gets hurt. Rashad White's going to play more week to week, but I think they're kind of out on Rashad White as a lead back. Bucky never got above 70% any game last year. 76% of the first game is a sign of great things to come. That's from Story. That guy's really smart, the Story guy. He knows his shit. Can't wait to actually have you on, see your face there, Story. I'm really excited about that. Moving on to, oh my God. Do we want to really look at this one, the Niners? So, I don't know if you guys heard. The Niners, we have George Kittle. I don't know if he's going to go on IR. I said he was going to go on IR last night. It looks like they said multiple week injury. It's a hamstring. They're going to rest that guy, get him back. We have Brock Purdy, who's now dealing with multiple ailments. He might miss the game on Sunday. Jawan Jennings has a shoulder injury, but they said he couldn't move his shoulder. He couldn't put his arm over his shoulder, like up to his head. So Jawan Jennings is out. Look at the other guys you have here. And neither of these guys had a catch. You have Russell Gage, and that's Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Sky Moore. And I believe they have Demarcus Robinson, but he's dealing with a 3-game suspension right now for PEDs. So there is nothing there. And you see Christian McCaffrey with 58 snaps, 31 touches. Christian McCaffrey is going to break, man. So I think here's the play with McCaffrey. I think you just hold out if you can for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. He's going to dominate. He's going to be the number 1 running back in fantasy. But he will break if they keep on doing this. And then you trade him. Get 3 or 4 RB1 weeks out of him, and then sell him at value, even not even high. Well, they have to sign someone, but it's going to be, Story says they have to sign someone. It's going to be someone off the streets, right? Story says, how many games with 30-plus touches can they give CMC and expect him to last the whole season? I don't think Kyle Shanahan thinks like that. Kyle Shanahan's an idiot. Like, he's a full-blown moron. There's a reason all his players stay hurt, right? And, like, Brian Robinson only gets 18 snaps in this game. He looked pretty good, too. Jennings is the real wide receiver one there. Yeah, but Jennings is probably out for 3 or 4 weeks, man. Jennings will probably go on the IR, dude. For the reports that I read about his injury, it's not good. Brian Jr. is like the must-have of handcuffs now. And I just want to tell you this. I rewatched that whole game. Jennings, now they gave him a little bit of money, but it wasn't probably what he wanted. Dude, he looked like Brandon Ayuk out there. He was really disinterested. I saw him, and like he's known as like a scrappy dude that always puts his nose out there and blocks. I saw him like lollygagging a couple times, like not blocking. So, and his injury happened in the third quarter. This is like first half. Just a little concerning because Juwan Jennings was never that guy. He's like becoming a diva. Ooh, Tank Bigsby. Okay, we got to talk about Tank Bigsby real quick because I was supposed to cover that earlier. Tank Bigsby, I don't know if you guys heard, Tank Bigsby traded the Eagles for a 5th and 6th round pick. So, there's a couple implications here. Me and Story were both big Will Shipley guys as a priority handcuff and almost not a playable guy, but like he was a bottom of the bench handcuff, like not a guy people talked about. I'm pretty sure, sorry to say it, we have to drop Will Shipley now. Not to mention Will Shipley's hurt right now. We don't know the extent of that injury, but I think we have to drop Will Shipley. And Tank Bigsby's probably not going to get any work. I think Shipley, when healthy, is still going to be a change of pace back. But Shipley is now in the Rachaad White territory, where if there's an injury to Saquon, I think they're just going to give the bulk of the work to Tank Bigsby. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because Tank Bigsby is a really good runner. Tank will be a kick returner. You think it's going to be Shipley or Tank as a handcuff? Because I don't like hanging on to handcuffs. I'm talking about this in terms of Shipley. I don't like hanging on to handcuffs that I don't know they're actually the guy. That just seems like a wasted roster spot. I know it'd be great if Shipley was the starter if there was an injury to Barkley. So I'd rather just drop him and pick up someone that I know or a wide receiver at that point. They brought him in for a reason, exactly. And Tank Bigsby profiles as more of a not 3-down back, but an early down banger, right? Yeah, I like Shipley, man. He put on some weight this year. He looked really good in the 4 touches he had before he got hurt. Like he looked bigger than he had in the past. So I think we're dropping Will Shipley, right? Will Shipley out of town. It sucks. But the other implication that's actually more important is Travis Etienne. We're going to get to that, the Jaguars soon, but Travis Etienne dominated snaps, had 140 rushing yards, and Tootin. So now Tootin needs to be definitely try to trade for Tootin right now because Tootin is now the number 2 there. He's a change of pace back already, and he's the handcuff, and I think there's a world, believe it or not, that Tootin just takes over that backfield in general. Etienne fumbles a couple times, misses a few assignments, like the Etiennes are prone to do. I'm throwing out the Trevor Etienne as well. So I think it's going to be like a 60-40 split, and Tootin has a lot of juice, man. He's a little more powerful. He's definitely a more powerful runner than Etienne, and he has like the same speed. Probably even a better receiver, dude. Like Etienne's good with the ball in his hands, but he's got fucking terrible hands, man. So big people that drafted Tootin, like it was looking bad after week 1 when you had all 3 guys involved. Bigsby was the biggest loser because he had like the lowest snap share. But now Tootin to the moon, man. Tootin needs to be like he is almost not Zach Charbonnet level, Jordan Mason level, but he is right below those guys because he's a playable guy that has a chance to overtake the starter for whatever reason. What we got here? I don't think you're looking at a 1-to-1, even 70% replacement for Saquon. Yeah, this actually just sucks for everyone, right? But it definitely sucks for Will Shipley. And just saying, as a guy that has like 10 shares of Will Shipley at the last spot on my bench, we got to cut him, right? I think we just cut him in our league, right, Story? Before, because we need a kicker. We see Tootin is going to see legit time. I'm a great boy. Yes, he is. The Eagles said they will use other backs more before the season. That's what their plan is. I bet Tank is just a 3rd down back. Well, no, Tank is not a 3rd down back. He has 9 career receptions in 2 years. So Tank is an early down back. So they may spell Saquon a little bit here in early downs and salt the game away and not have him in the game in a fourth quarter 14-point lead type thing. Walker will get more of the load. I'm calling it. We're talking Kenneth Walker here. I'm a Greek, says 4.3240 dash. Kid can fly. We did. Nice. And yeah, we dropped Shipley. He's worthless now. It sucks because I love Shipley. All right. Anything else about this Niners? We're going to go back to the Niners. Anything else you want to talk about that trade? Because it's good. It's good for Jacksonville backs. It's bad for Bigsby. And it's really bad for Shipley. And it may be a little bad for Saquon because now they might give some more work to Bigsby. It's my thought. We're going to pop on over here to, this is an interesting one here. We have the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker, the tiny dancer. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Ken Walker, 40%. Charbonnet, 58%. Played on third downs. Charbonnet got the goal line carries. This is quite concerning if you're a Ken Walker drafter. Now, I think I only have Ken Walker in one league out of 25. So, you know what? I have Charbonnet in probably 3 or 4. Just get out of here, Ken Walker. You didn't look good at all. Had like 3 catches for 4 yards. Are you panicking as a Kenneth Walker owner? Obviously, you're not releasing him, but are you starting him next week? I mean, Brian, you could say Walker got the call when they were down, but he is because they like him as a receiver, I guess. 21 snaps to 30 snaps, though. That's I mean, I know you have to hold him because you sure as fuck can't trade him. You can't drop him. I'm saying, you're going to start him next week. Okay, how about this one? Next week, Javonte Williams or Kenneth Walker? Who do the Seahawks have? I got to pull the schedule up here. We got Williams, 1 vote for Williams. Seahawks are at the Steelers. So thank you, Anthony. Are we starting? This is an honest question because you drafted Kenneth Walker in most likely the 4th round as your RB2, in some cases your RB1, which I hope is not the case. If you have Javonte Williams and you have Ken Walker, who are you starting? Seattle at Pittsburgh. And I know Pittsburgh did get gashed on the ground by the Jets. Look at that. Nice Greek. We're thinking alike right here, baby. Brian Payton says I'd pick Williams. I'm a Seahawks fan. I wouldn't start Walker. Steelers defense looked bad. So we have a lot of Javonte Williams. All right, how about I ask you this one? Are you starting, if you had both, Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, are you starting Walker or Charbonnet? For sure, Greek. I get that they have to go. I know Story says that Cowboys have to go up against the front 7 of the Giants. I just know Javonte is going to get a lot of snaps. And we don't know how many snaps Ken Walker's going to get. If he's going to get 25 snaps and he's not going to get goal line work, what are we talking about? Brian Payton saying Walker. He's still sticking with Walker. We got a Zach. Zach probably. That's a really tough one, man. Landon says Charbonnet is so much better. I mean, it depends what you like. I mean, Ken Walker is more dynamic, but Zach Charbonnet is a monster. He's a hell of a blocker, dude. One of the most beastly pass blockers in the game. And he's a serviceable, pretty good receiver. Steady, coaches Pat. He just never makes the wrong decision, makes the right cut, doesn't try to get extra yards. Where let's be honest, there's a reason we call Ken Walker the tiny dancer on this channel, because he's a fucking dancer. He's actually not that tiny, but it's from the song, right? Elton John. When Zach was in the game, they didn't use him. Well, Ken Walker looks awesome. When it's good, it looks awesome. When it's bad, it looks bad. Who sucks as a pass protector? You're talking about Ken Walker Story? Because I hope you are, because Zach Charbonnet does not suck as a pass pro. So, Caleb Williams is so inaccurate. That is true. Anthony says Zach is a passing back and will get touchdowns. PPR, Zach's the move. Good call. At first I read that. I thought you were saying that about Walker. I was like, because Walker had more reception upside last year. He was actually, I think he was on pace for 70 catches if he had played the whole year. Walker is the call. So we have Brian's a hardcore Walker fan. This could actually be Kenneth Walker. If it is, what up, man? I do respect what you do. Jesse says the only reason Steelers defense got gashed is because they run away from T.J. Watt, and like every team wants to. Greg says, watch what Pittsburgh does to Seattle this Sunday. That's gonna be a interesting game. Those are two physical ass teams. Stats, but he had like Sam Darnold had 150 yards passing. JSN had 125 receiving yards. There was 25 yards that weren't JSN passing or receiving. That's unreal. Nothing else here. AJ Barnard played a lot of snaps. Royal 31%, so that's a nothing. Okay, this is an interesting one. We got the Steelers. We're just talking about the Steelers. We have Kenneth Gainwell. What do you think the odds were going in this game? Kenneth Gainwell would lead the Pittsburgh running backs in snaps, 54%. We have Jaylen Warren at 45%, and Caleb Johnson. I wish I had all my editing shit. I would play the or the Price is Right. Dun, 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 and then 2 snaps. 2 snaps, bro. 2 fucking snaps. And he had negative. I think if you started him in fantasy, he got negative points because he had negative 1 yards. Yeah, well, he got 2 snaps, so that's definitely not enough. And they're playing Kenneth Gainwell, bro. He's third string for now. Nice story. That's a good point because he says, speaking of tiny dancers, it feels like Swift would rather die than not bounce every carry outside the tackle. I feel like that was something that he was told by coaches, like, don't be a bitch. And he was just running directly into guys. So he's not going to last very long if he does that because DeAndre Swift is an outside runner. Like, he's an elusive back. There's no reason to run towards Watt. Yeah, it's true. Caleb didn't get enough snaps. It's 100% true. I wouldn't trust a single Steelers running back as a Steelers fan. Not yet. I think as the year progresses, I think it's going to be Caleb Johnson. It has to be Caleb Johnson. Dude, Kenneth Gainwell is legitimately a third down back. We've seen this his entire career. He's a good third down back. Jaylen Warren is a 1B at best. Caleb Johnson is a workhorse. So they need to lean into that at some point this season. Aaron Rodgers gets a little colder. Aaron Rodgers gets a little dinged up. They're not going to be playing in 34 to 32 shootouts every week either. So, but if you drafted Caleb Johnson, what is your concern level right now? Because you can't drop the guy because he's getting snatched up in a heartbeat. I'm picking his ass up. Arthur Smith is going to Arthur Smith. Nick Allman says, I'm a homosexual. Hey, man, I'm bi-curious. So I'm a couple steps away from homosexual, but like, that's how it starts, right? You're straight, then you're bi-curious, then you're bisexual, then you're gay, and then you're tranny, right? Then you transition. That's like the 5-step process. But hey, shout out Nick, man. Loud and proud, baby. Greg says Rodgers looked really good to throw 4 TDs. I think only him and Josh Allen threw 4 TDs this week. Yeah, what's funny is he only had one 4 passing touchdown game with the Jets in 18 starts. Pretty funny. I'm bearish on Caleb, not going to lie. I am too, man, but, like, it's not up to Caleb, right? Like, Caleb, he's not even going to get the opportunity right now to prove his worth, and they didn't even really get him much opportunity in the preseason, so it's going to take a while. What was Smith targets? Jonnu Smith? Not many, bro, because he had a couple carries. They gave him he had a rushing touchdown. It wasn't many. I'm going to look it up for you. It was not many, bro. Jonnu Smith, I believe you're talking about Jonnu Smith, right? Jonnu Smith had, actually six targets, 5 catches, 15 yards. Story says, son of a billionaire, Arthur Smith thinks he's smarter than everyone else and has to constantly prove that by doing shit no one would expect. How does his 47 chromosome monkey brain keep getting work? Why is he working? He's so rich, dude. Why are you working? The life of an NFL coach or coordinator is hell, bro. Like, you have no time for anything. Fuck that. Just go to an island, fuck bitches. Or if you're gay, like, who's the Nick Allman, go fuck dudes. If you're bisexual, go fuck both. As long as they're not, like, underage kids, like, you're good, man. Don't do, like, an Epstein. You can't go to the Epstein Island because that is illegal. Calvin Austin is really a guy to look at. Yeah, he played a lot of snaps. So Calvin Austin played 80%. DK on the field every snap. This is wheels up for DK. If this offense is going to be serviceable, which is our big question with DK, right? And Aaron Rodgers is going to play like this, like moving out of the pocket, looking somewhat spry. When I say somewhat spry, we're talking about a 40-year-old quarterback. DK Metcalf is underdrafted. He's going to have a lot of touchdowns. Nothing else really here. The running back situation we talked about. He's on my wire. Yeah. Calvin Austin's on almost everyone's wire, so that would be a guy. I wouldn't expect it every week, but it seems like he's going to play a lot of snaps. So we do like guys that play a lot of snaps. That's kind of the exercise of this show. Let's move on to the Eagles. Saquon 79%. AJ Brown was out there a lot. Didn't do anything. We already talked about that. Dallas Goedert, full-time player. I think we can skip the Eagles because that's yeah, Freiermuth needs to play more for sure. We're going to move on because we don't talk about the Eagles. Let's talk about the Jets. So all this hype about a three-back system and Breece Hall is not going to play a lot. I'm going to ask Story on this one because he was a big anti-Breece Hall guy this year. I was more lukewarm. I think I have him in 2 leagues, so right at market with 24. I have him in 1 out of every 12 leagues. I wish I had him more, but I was getting him in the 4th round, which I liked. But in reality, it looks like he may have been deserving of a 3rd-round pick if this usage continues. So he played 58% of the snaps. Braylon Allen played, that's fine, 31%, but Isaiah Davis didn't really play. So the offense looks much better than we thought. Their offensive line is good. Justin Fields looks dynamic. So this is good for Breece Hall. So Story, are you I know it's just 1 week and I'm not trying to overreact too much, but do you think we whiffed on the Breece Hall fade? Everyone was fading Breece Hall, bro. Everyone faded Breece Hall. So do you think we whiffed on this as a community? And that just goes out to everyone in the chat here. Did we whiff on that? Jesse says Garrett Wilson looked better with Fields than he did with Rodgers. Dude, he looked awesome, man. And Fields looked awesome. The offense looked awesome. And it's not like they beat up on the Panthers. The Steelers have the highest paid defense in the NFL, like by a mile, bro. Veterans, great coordinators, proud franchise, proud history, and they got fucking torched, man. So this is really, really. I guess the big test is how do they do in Buffalo, but Buffalo is usually getting gashed by the run. It happens every year, definitely to the Ravens, but we'll see how it looks next week. Who fumbled? More things about this game. Josh Reynolds, man. This is not a thing for redraft at all. Don't touch Josh Reynolds. But set 97% of the snaps. He was my last pick in my DraftKings best ball. It's 20 rounds. I like that, man, because he's on the field a lot. He's going to catch a bomb or two. But Braylon Allen, 31%, I feel like is pretty standard. Mason Taylor only had 1 catch, but he played 88% of the snaps. So definitely a guy to look at in certain matchups. Story says, good news is it's truly a 2-back room now. Davis is irrelevant, but 58% carry share isn't ideal, especially as this was a close game throughout. I worry what happens when they don't score 30-plus points. I think we were all projecting less than that, and I think it was more the fact that he got 58% of the carries, but he had, he got 19 rushing attempts and 4 targets. So he got, on those plays, he got 23 opportunities, which I like a lot. We're moving on to the Giants. Tyrone Tracy dominated at 74%. Darius Slayton, I think, had 0 catches at 97%. Nothing real here. We could probably skip this because, I guess Cam Scatterbo getting 8 snaps. I don't know if you saw, he had an amazing pass block. He lit a linebacker up in the hole. I'm going Eagles, Bills, Ravens this week, though. Yeah, I like that. I definitely think the Ravens are going to destroy. Story says, I'm worried about Tracy and Cam Scatterbo. I'm definitely worried about Tracy because you drafted him to be a starter, and we don't know how long he's going to hold that job. But this offense looks like shit. And I think there's a chance that after week 3, if they go 0-3, they're just going to Jackson Dart. Or maybe if Jackson Dart's not ready, they play Jameis Winston. Can we all hope for Jameis Winston for 4 fucking weeks? How much better is football when Jameis Winston is starting games? It's great for their fantasy receivers. It's just fun, bro. It's like touchdowns, interceptions, antics. Fucking love Jameis Winston, man. The offense is horrendous under Russell Wilson. It's literally dink and dunks and then lollipops that get picked off. It's fucking. I'm moving on from the Giants. We're not talking about the Giants anymore. It might be Jameis. If they have to move on after next week, I don't know if you want to bring Jackson Dart in this early in the season. I know he looked great in preseason. We're going to the Saints here. Alvin Kamara is 79%. I will say Kendre Miller looked pretty good. And me and Story have ripped on Kendre Miller for a long time. Can't stay healthy, slow, not good. He looks like a different player out there. And I think he's a guy. Now, for instance, we're all dropping Will Shipley now. If you're looking at a possible handcuff, someone for the bottom of your bench in a deep league, I think Kendre Miller might be the call. What do you guys think about that? Because he's clearing away the number 2 there. Devin Neal's a rookie. I don't think they trust him. They don't like him. Somehow they like Kendre Miller because you feel like they would have cut ties. This is his 3rd year, I believe. So he's had 2 years of injury marked seasons. So I think Miller could be a possible stash in a deep league. Chris Olave, Shaheed. There's Juwan Johnson, 99%. He played 74 fucking snaps. Good for you, bro. We don't want to talk about the Saints too much in this show. For real, Cav, imagine all the good teams last year just sucks this year. Chiefs can suck, to be honest. We'll see in November. I mean, the Chiefs have some rough times ahead of them, bro. With the injuries they have, with the schedule they have, it's not looking great. Gentlemen, we have 9 likes in this video. We're halfway through the snap shares. We might go through some stuff later. I still have 2 beers to finish here. If we get 50 likes and 50 subs on this video, I'm giving away a free bet. I'm going to get your info. You tell me the bet. I place it for you. If you win, I Venmo you. Simple as that. If you have Venmo. If not, we'll figure out something else. Who doesn't have Venmo, right? So, why the hell not? What are you losing out on? You're getting some free bets here. We're going to get to the Patriots here. Stevenson. This one's interesting, man. TreVeyon Henderson. How disappointing is this? 35% of the snaps. 25 snaps. Stevenson played 65% of the snaps. That's a problem. So that is a problem. And Story, good call on Kamara's target number. As long as Rattler's in there, Rattler does not check the ball down. He's a gunslinger and he likes to run. So, and he throws it out of bounds half the time. So that's really hard for Kamara. Like if he doesn't have that rushing touchdown, all his value is receptions at this point. Bad offense, not as explosive as he used to be. So this is really, really dangerous for Kamara. I think he'd be better with Tyler Shuck, though. Tyler Shuck, as a rookie, is more prone to I think, check it down. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Henderson? Like, what's the panic meter? Where should we have the panic meter on Henderson right now? I'm a Greek boy, says Henderson was never going to get a ton of attempts. His college numbers showed that. Well, I'm not so worried about his rushing attempts. I'm worried that he didn't play. Like, he played a third as much as Ramondre Stevenson. So that's kind of my worry because I think he was just going to have – I feel like they use him in a more dynamic way. He had like 5 catches for like 20 yards. And I know it's week 1. It is what it is, man. It's going to be better. But like we thought, at least early in the year, I think at least I thought and this channel thought it'd be 50-50 split, right? 50% snap share to both. And this was a game they were losing the entire second half. Why the fuck are you playing Ramondre Stevenson? Like we know TreVeyon Henderson's a great pass protector. So I just don't. I'm confused, I guess, is what I'm saying. I don't understand why they did this. Story says if you drafted him in early August, you're fine because it was a 4th or 5th round pick. If you drafted him like towards the end of draft, it was a 3rd or 4th round pick, typically a 3rd, and you're probably shitting your pants. So I do have in a few spots. I'm going to keep rolling him out there because in PPR, I feel like he's safe to get you 10 points, but that's not exactly what you like. We drafted him for much more than that. So unless you have better options, like I'm gonna bring up the Javonte Williams thing. I would probably still start TreVeyon Henderson over Javonte Williams. It's a tough one though, man, because how long can you wait? Like, I'm not saying you're going to cut bait. You're obviously not going to trade him, and you're not going to drop him. You could just bench him, though, if you have better options. But if you wait too long, he is going to break out. He is going to be the lead back here. We thought it would happen week 1, week 2, week 3. It might not happen to week 4, week 5, week 6, maybe like week 8. We don't fucking know. Mike Vrabel's kind of an idiot. Great coach, but I feel like he's not into rookies very much. Jesse said McLaurin looked like crap. Debo might have a big season. They could both have big seasons, though. I think we'd all be singing a different tune. Unfortunately, he had 4 targets, 2 catches. But he had a wide open 60-yard touchdown that Jaden Daniels just whiffed on, bro. He overthrew him by 10 yards and he was laughing afterwards. I think he was laughing because it was such a bad throw on his end. So if he had that touchdown, his line would have been 4 targets. It would have been 3 catches for, 82 yards and a touchdown. Like, we'd be singing a much different tune because that's kind of how Terry McLaurin made his hay last year. It was all those touchdowns and deep bombs because it wasn't like a bunch of volume. He had like 120 targets. So it was just the deep efficiency. And unfortunately, they didn't connect on that one. I'm not panicking on Terry McLaurin at all. Story says, I think as a community, we might have overvalued the Patriots offense this year, expecting them to take a major step forward. Easy to forget they were terrible most of the year. I think we might have been kind of overrating Drake May as a passer because it looked so good last year. And it did look raw and it was erratic, but we gave him a pass because it was like, who was he throwing to? And again, this year, look who he's throwing to. Keyshawn Boutte, Demario Douglas, Matt Collins, Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, by the way, 41% snaps. He's come back from that injury. He looked okay, though, so he passed the eye test for me. I think he still had 5 catches. So I'm actually this is promising as a Stephon Diggs owner. That in a couple weeks, he's going to be back to a 70. He's never been a 90% snap guy. Stephon Diggs has always been like in the 72 to 78% snap range. He doesn't really play a lot of running plays. So I'm pretty optimistic about Stephon Diggs here. But Keyshawn Boutte, are you guys picking up Keyshawn Boutte? Because I'm not. He had a good game. It was like 100 yards. I don't think I'm buying it. Hunter Henry, though, 93%. We're going to move to the Miami fucking piece of shit Dolphins. They suck. Boutte, a sneaky ad in 12-team leagues if you need a wide receiver help. Definitely in the short term until you start getting more snaps from Diggs, which might take a couple weeks. Don't go, says, don't go expecting a ton of production every week. If it would be very much boom or bust. Don't go chasing waterfalls, man. Greek says, I don't really want a receiver on the Pats offense. I mean, it looks like they're not going to be as good as we thought. They're going to be playing from behind. So that's not a bad thing. And Drake May is a chucker, man. Jesse says, definitely thought McCaffrey would get more snaps. Kind of disappointing considering they were looking for him to step up this year. Are we talking... You talking about Christian McCaffrey? Because he got a lot of fucking snaps. And a lot of touches. Too many touches, 31 touches. Holy shit. They're going to kill that man. They're going to kill him. Murder alert. All right, moving on to the Dolphins here. This is terrible. Their snaps here is going to be really weird because they played Zach Wilson and they benched all their starters for the last 6 minutes of this game. Oh, he's talking about Luke McCaffrey. Okay. Good call, bro. I thought so too, man. He's a McCaffrey. He's got the pedigree. Pretty savvy slot player. They seem to like Noah Brown there in Washington. So until Noah Brown gets hurt, McCaffrey is going to be relegated to like a gadget player and a special teams guy. What do we do with Hill? Jeff, we made our bed. I have 1 Tyreek Hill share out of 25 redrafts. So I'm just going to roll with it, right? You can't trade the guy. You can't trade him. You can't bench him because, who are you going to bench him for Keyshawn Boutte? I don't think so. Jalen Waddle already got banged up in week 1, a typical fucking shoulder injury. He came back in the game, but, Jalen Waddle's already banged up. Surprise, surprise, going into week 2. The man is frail as shit. This is their bottoming out. Okay, do we think this is their bottoming out, or you think they could bottom out more? Then literally... They were being shut out, and they scored a touchdown with 6 minutes left, down 33-0, and it was on 4th down, 4th and 6, and it was Devin A-Chain on it was from the 8-yard line. It was almost a lateral pass, and he broke 2 tackles to score on 4th down. Is this bottoming out, or is there lower to go? Can we sink lower with the Dolphins? Combat Cash Club, what up, man? Jefferson's going to disappoint all year with that bum McCarthy at quarterback. It may be a little disappointing. I don't think the upside's going to be there, but he's still going to be a top 8 receiver, I'll say. Story says, here's what I would do. Jeff, invent a time machine. Go back, watch our stream on players we're fading and avoiding, drafting Tyreek Hill anywhere. That's true. Although I will say I have 1 share of Tyreek Hill, like I said, in 25 leagues. I wanted to get 1 share. It was in the 4th round. It was the second pick of the 4th round. I felt good there. It was my 3rd receiver. I'm not mad about it. I think he's still going to have some boom weeks. So there's nothing you can do about it. You have to roll out with Tyreek Hill or bench him. You can't trade him. You can't drop him. You're going to get peanuts, man. If anything, I think the play is, I think trading for Tyreek Hill right now, considering there's some possibilities that he could be traded, McDaniel gets fired. Like, there's a lot of good possibilities for him, and not like it can't get any lower, right? He had 4 catches for 40 yards. That's fucking trash. Would you guys, okay, story in the chat, would you trade for Tyreek Hill? If you could get Tyreek Hill for, I'm trying to think of an example of like a 7th, 8th round receiver. Chris Olave. Okay, how about this? No, how about this? Keon Coleman. If you had Keon Coleman, would you trade him for Tyreek Hill? I would for sure. Thanks, Combat. Appreciate you. I was thinking of swapping Jaden Higgins for Cedric Tillman or Quentin Johnson off the waivers. Thoughts? Should I hold the rookie? Dude, Cedric Tillman needed to be drafted. Again, I wish you subscribed 2 months ago. Cedric Tillman was on my pillar players list. I have Cedric Tillman everywhere. Keon Coleman as well. Cedric Tillman's the dude, man. He is the 1B, not even the number 2, because I think he's the 1B to Jerry Jeudy. And as long as you have Flacco playing there in Cleveland, you're going to get 40 passing attempts a game and a chucker. And Cedric Tillman's going to be a borderline wide receiver too. You heard it here first. I've been saying it. Story, tell him. I've been saying it. So yeah, if you could buy low on Tyreek Hill, that's how you win. That's how you win fantasy championships. If you don't have to give up too much to get him, you do it, because what are you risking? Now, if you have him, don't trade him though, because you're not going to get equal value. So 50 says I would not trade. He would not trade Keon for a worthless piece of shit in Tyreek Hill. Story saying he wouldn't trade Keon Coleman for Tyreek Hill. For me, man, I'm looking at 1 week sample size. I know this is more of a 1 year and 1 game sample size for Tyreek Hill. I think smart business says you trade high on Keon Coleman and you get Tyreek Hill. That's just me. Keon Coleman didn't look, he looked good. Again, I'm a huge Keon Coleman guy, but there was a chance, just so you know, that was one of the legs on my $1,600 bet. $10 win $1,600 was Keon Coleman over 37.5 yards. In the 4th quarter, I was worried about losing that bet because Keon Coleman, he was stuck on 30 yards with 8 minutes left in the game. That's all I'm just saying, it could have been a way different game if they don't get the ball back and the Ravens come down and score and are up 22 points. Keon Coleman ends the game with 30 yards. I love Keon Coleman. I'm not trying to rip the guy. I'm saying if you have Keon Coleman and you drafted him as your wide receiver 5, and you can literally get Tyreek Hill at his lowest point, like he'll ever be, maybe he can go lower, but I think he can go a lot higher than lower, then you do it. That's good business to me. But anyways, Jalen Waddle sucks. It's all bad here. So Devin Achane did play a lot of snaps. So the Ollie Gordon thing, let's talk about Ollie Gordon. So all this hype of Ollie Gordon, he's a playable, like, a running back 3, blah, 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 blah. 12 fucking snaps. That's with a possibly a little bit hobbled Devin Achane coming off the injury. So Ollie Gordon, I'm still holding on to Ollie Gordon, but the fact that Ollie Gordon was going ahead of Brian Robinson, like, I got my shares of Ollie Gordon in the 13th, 14th round, the first week of draft season, as in like 3 weeks before the season started. The last week when I had like 80% of my drafts, dude, he was going 9th round. 9th round for Ollie Gordon. So you have to hold him though, right? Good quote, Story. Good quote. This guy's very wise, this lawyer. Jesse says, what are your thoughts on Ibuka when Godwin returns to the lineup? There's room for both of them to eat. And I think if he continues to play like this and produce like this and they keep winning, he's not going to lose snaps, right? Like he might have to move outside a little bit more and then put Godwin in the slot. But he played actually surprisingly quite a bit outside. So I think Godwin just maybe hurts him 10%, right? 10% of what he's been doing. But if he's going to be a top 12 receiver, okay, and then he's a top 16 receiver. Still way better than where you drafted him. So Ollie Gordon, last thoughts on Ollie Gordon. Just traded McCaffrey and JSN for Javonte Williams and Garrett Wilson. How did I do? Eric, I don't know, man. I'm in for trading McCaffrey, like trading him high. But Garrett Wilson and JSN, I would say JSN's probably his value is probably a little higher. I'm a big Garrett Wilson guy, but JSN's the only show in town, and they don't have a scrambling quarterback. And I want McCaffrey over Javonte Williams. So I would definitely rather be on the other end of that. Although I love Javonte Williams and Garrett Wilson, I just like Christian McCaffrey and JSN more. A-Chain's value in this terrible offense has to come with targets, and 4 isn't getting it done. If he doesn't score in that game they were trailing, you were pretty unhappy. We're already unhappy with his score with that touchdown. But I think they might have to go back to the PPR scam and just dumping it down to A-Chain. So I'm not too worried about A-Chain, honestly. I'm a little worried about Ollie Gordon just because where people were drafting him. You have to hold him because it looks like he's the handcuff there. Tom Talks Film. What up, Tom? Traded Gibbs, Sampson, and Tillman for Brian Thomas and Aston Genty. Gibbs, Sam. Oh, see, that's a good trade. You traded high on Sampson and Tillman, and you got Brian Thomas. You got him dirt cheap because he had an awful performance week 1, and Aston Genty had a touchdown, but it wasn't amazing. So yeah, you won that trade, even though Gibbs was the best player in that trade. That's a win for you, bro. For sure. All right, we're moving on to a non-Dolphins team. Speaking of Aston Genty, 86% of the snaps. Really nice news before the game that they made Raheem Mostert inactive. He was supposed to be the backup. Zamir White is just dust. He is terrible. He is the dustiest 25-year-old in the history of the world. So Aston Genty is going to play so many snaps this year. This is wheels up for Aston Genty. I know he averaged 2 yards a carry or whatever. I heard a crazy stat about Aston Genty. He had, 39 or 40 yards rushing, and he had 44 yards of rushing after contact. So he was actually contacted in the backfield more often than he was not. So really impressive for Aston Genty. The snap share, that is, his first game. Yeah, that Gibbs trade is really nice, bro. I like that one. Drop Jefferson for Pearsall. Heckler, are you heckling us again? Heckler, you're heckling. Stop heckling. Jacoby Myers, 94%. He came, it was like that trade request and whatever else happened there didn't even happen. Trey Tucker, 90%. So that's a concern for Dante Thornton. So shout out to the counselor, fantasy football counselor, that fucking scrub. Dante Thornton is rosterable, but you can't start the guy. He looked okay, but he's the third receiver there, and Brock Bowers is still there. Michael Mayer. Now, this is interesting. They played a lot of 12 personnel, bro. I know the snap share looks weird because Mayer had 63% and Bowers had 51%, but Bowers left the game in the third quarter, so he didn't play the last 22 game minutes of that game. So Michael Mayer, though, was playing 63% of the snaps. Let's say he would have played 52% if Bowers didn't get hurt. I would possibly, if we don't get any news on Bowers and you have a deep league, especially if you're a Bowers owner, probably pick up Michael Mayer. Because Michael Mayer, like, sometimes he looks like Brock Bowers out there. Am I crazy to say that? But do we think Coleman is Buffalo's wide receiver 1? Heckler, I think... Yeah, Heckler, I'm just heckling. Sorry. Hey, that's your name, bro. That's what you do. I think I would still rather in PPR have Khalil Shakir just because he is a focal point of that offense. Now Coleman has more upside because there's a world where Coleman scores 10, 12 touchdowns this year, and the PPR, the catch difference, isn't going to matter. But Khalil Shakir is safe and steady, 80 catches, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. So give me in terms of value, who I'd rather want, it's going to be Shakir. Who has more boom potential? It's definitely going to be Keon Coleman. He has a chance. He played more snaps. Keon Coleman played so much. We're going to get into that in a second. But I would probably say I want Shakir more. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Jesse says Debo Samuel, big year. It looks like it, man. It looks like the old Debo. Is Butte a league winner this year? No, Tom. Butte's borderline, you could pick him up, but I wouldn't trust starting him. So what are your guys' thoughts on Michael Mayer? No, actually, no. We're talking about Keon Coleman. Do you want Coleman or Shakir? Right now, rest of season, full PPR. You want Coleman or Shakir? Who are you valuing more? Hey, Jesse, it might take a few targets away, but there's also a flip side to that where you're gonna have less defensive tension on you and Mike Evans and Buka and Mike Evans if you have Godwin back. So like it's like that's a lot of crutch arguments. Like there's not always a 1-to-1 correlation. Like maybe he gets a couple less targets, but maybe he has a more efficiency, right? Like more single coverage, stuff like that. Again, we got Coleman and we got Shakir. Who are you taking? Full PPR. Spam the chat with this one. Full PPR. You're taking Coleman, you're taking Shakir right now. Not like just for upside play. If you had to have one that as your flex right now, your wide receiver 4 in a PPR, you're starting him every week going forward. Shakir or Coleman? We got Shakir from Jeff. Chat. We have Coleman. Wow, story. Wow. Early in the year, when we started all our talks for getting into draft season, you were not quite on Keon Coleman. So I think I may have convinced you, and then week 1 like put you over the edge. It was like I'm a hot girl. You saw me, I look good in a tank top, and then I take my clothes off, and I look even better. You thought I might have saggy titties. You thought maybe I had like a bush down there, and I'm shaved. I got a clit ring. Like I'm looking great. That's Keon Coleman after week 1, baby. Drop a Dunze for Pearsall. I also have CMC. No, you have to have worse players to drop than a Dunze. A Dunze you drafted as a 7th rounder. Keon Boomer bust. He's not going to be a bust. I think there's a world where he's also not a boom. I think we're just getting a little ahead of our skis on Keon Coleman, and this pains me because I was one of the biggest Keon Coleman advocates. I mentioned him so many times on probably half the pods we did in this pre-draft process for fantasy drafts. It was nice to see, right? It was nice to see the snaps. It was nice to see the alpha mentality. He looked good. He did look good. He looked aware too. I'm telling you that was coming out party for Keon Coleman. You can't put that horse back in the barn. I fucking hope you're right, man. I wish I had more Keon Coleman. I think I have like 4 shares, which is crazy for how much I talked him up. But I have like a 30%, 25% Keon Coleman in best ball, my 400 best ball league. So you know what? I'm here for it, baby. Moving on, we have the Kyren Williams show in Los Angeles for the Rams. Kyren, 82% of the snaps. Fucking nothing's changed. Nothing will ever change until he gets hurt. Devontae Puka only 63%, but you got to remember he left with a big gash in his forehead, so he's fine. Nothing else really to talk about there. That's pretty much status quo. We'll talk about the other team in Los Angeles here. What do we got here? Hollywood Brown projected for 9 points and half PPR from Heckler. Yeah, I can see that. That's not bad. We're talking about the Chargers. Go, Chargers, go. Hampton, 80%, but I think this is going to be more of an even split, man. Najee was not in shape. He was not in game shape. It's going to be 60-40 in a couple weeks, so I'm worried about Hampton. Ladd, 85%. Keenan Allen, 62%. We can move on from this game. This was the Friday game. Same here. I guess we can talk about the Chiefs a little bit. Isaiah Pacheco, 51%. Kareem Hunt played like the high-value snaps. Super, super, super worried about Isaiah Pacheco, man. He's not playing in short yardage, and he's not playing in third down. So you're literally getting a early down banger between the 20s with Isaiah Pacheco on a non-elite, I'm not going to say non-elite, but not a top 5 offense. What are your guys' thoughts on Isaiah Pacheco? Like, what's your panic level on Pacheco? Is this like end of the world? Are you starting him next week? Because I have an option. I have a team where I have Javonte Williams on the bench and I have Pacheco as my RB2. 12-team PPR. Would you start Javonte Williams or would you start Pacheco? Pacheco's against the Eagles, who Javonte Williams just destroyed, although it was mostly on the back of 2 touchdowns. I think I'm starting Javonte Williams. Yeah, Tom, it's a crazy world we're living in. I was drafting Tony Pollard over Pacheco. My last 5 or 6 drafts, I drafted Pollard over Pacheco 3 times. And I know Pollard didn't have an amazing day against Denver, but he had 80% of the snaps, and he is the guy until further notice, until Spears gets back. And I felt bad about it because I was like, I'm drafting a fucking player on a terrible, terrible, terrible Tennessee team that's projected to be terrible over a player on the Chiefs. But after 1 week, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm glad I passed on Pacheco. Yeah. Story says this team loves Kareem Hunt. I don't know why they love Kareem Hunt so much, but they fucking love Kareem Hunt. So that until it changes or until something happens, and the problem is you only have Rashard Smith's role, who he played 8 snaps. I think they like him, man. He's pretty dynamic pass catcher. I could see him getting like a mini Jerick McKinnon type role with them, which would totally kill and everything from Pacheco. Like Pacheco, that's rough, man. Sorry to Pacheco drafters. We have Travis Etienne here with the Jaguars, 61%, played amazing. Somehow they dressed 4 running backs because Quince Allen was playing ahead of Bashal Tutin. But we have Tutin now as the 2 there. Travis Hunter, 64%. I'm not worried about the percentage here, 64%. He played 8 snaps on defense, which I think is going to be about the ratio. But they designed, I don't know if you saw, he had 6 catches for like 30-something yards. It was pretty weird. It was a bunch of manufactured touches, screens, little slants. So I love that they're getting Travis Hunter involved in the offense. On the flip side, they did not get Brian Thomas, besides that end around they gave him, involved in the offense at all. 7 targets, 1 catch, 2 touches total. So again, Story, tell him. Who faded Brian Thomas Jr. more than anyone? I have 0 shares, bro. I think in my 400 best balls, I have like 4 shares total of Brian Thomas Jr. I was taking Drake London over him. I was taking all the running backs over him. Are you worried about Brian Thomas Jr.? Obviously, you can't do anything about it. You can't bench him. You won't want to bench him, but you were drafting him at the end of the first, early second in PPR. What's your worry level here for Brian Thomas Jr. if you guys own him? And would you consider trading for him? Like a little less than cost. Obviously not like a huge discount. We're always going to do that. Let's say a little less than cost. Would you trade for Brian Thomas Jr.? So let me ask you this right now. Would you rather have JSN or Brian Thomas Jr.? If you had JSN and the Brian Thomas Jr. owner was like, I'll swap him straight up for you, what do you do? Blake, it was an easy fade, man. It was a Travis Hunter thing. It was not believing in Trevor Lawrence. I was talking up Diami Brown. It's one of my most owned players in the underdog as like a 16th, 17th round guy. He led the team in receiving. He played 71% of the snaps. Bretton Strange actually had 4 catches for like 50 yards. J-Rob says, okay, now we're talking some sense here. I appreciate that, J-Rob. BTJ will be fine, dog. He's better receiver than Neighbors. Give me BTJ all day over JSN. So he's not worried at all about Brian Thomas. I'm worried a little bit because I was worried going into the season, and then I see this game. I know he got bailed out by that 9-yard end around. He'll be fine. I get he's gonna be fine, but it's not gonna be like it was last year, I guess is my thing. And you drafted him in the first round. Tom got him really cheap. Yeah, I would try to acquire Brian Thomas too, but not for where you drafted him, right? Like I would rather have St. Brown over Brian Thomas, even though he had a bad game too. Okay, maybe I'm just talking out my ass and I was trying to justify all my Brian Thomas fading and like having no shares, and I'm just like hoping he's terrible. I have nothing against Brian Thomas. Seems like a nice kid. And I also have quite a bit of Travis Hunter shares. Trevor Lawrence is definitely not that generational talent that we were sold on. I think he's done. I know, who knows, man. They did win the game. Let's move on to the Colts. So, Jonathan Taylor, I haven't seen this really reported. I heard this on a pod, but I haven't seen it reported on Roto World or on Twitter or anything. But I think Jonathan Taylor got banged up in this game because it was a blowout, but like I didn't see him after I think it was like the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. And that's why you see DJ Giddens with 18 snaps here. He looked pretty good. So I think the biggest takeaway for me here is DJ Giddens is officially the handcuff and like would perform well. It was a question mark is like, would they bring someone else in? I think Trey Sermon might still be there. Apparently they have Ulysses Bentley. Who the fuck is that, dude? Have you guys ever heard that name? He's the 4th too. Ulysses Bentley the 4th. That's a guy from the Civil fucking War. J-Rob, BTJ is one of my favorite receivers by far. I generally believe he's a better all-around NFL talent than Malik Neighbors is, and Neighbors is amazing. But I may believe in Liam Cohen more than most. Old Miss, I think. You know who Ulysses Bentley is. Okay, well, of course you do, Story. Good for you guys. I'm not exactly a college guy. I do soak up some knowledge. I watch a little bit here and there. Oh, Jesus Christ, Story. Fucking nerd alert. But would you guys agree that DJ Giddens needs to kind of be put into that, not the Ray Davis and Algier, that tier of handcuffs, but like the one a little bit below her, where we thought we had Will Shipley as like one of the last round picks you could have at the bottom of your bench. I think DJ Giddens, if he wasn't already there for you, I have him probably 5 or 6 stashed. And if you're a Jonathan Taylor owner, I think you need to prioritize trading for Giddens. If you have a Ray Davis, I think it's worth it to get Giddens because Taylor is known to miss 3 or 4 games, man. Story saying he's a high-end handcuff now. So you're putting Giddens up there among the likes of Ray Davis, among the likes of Brian Robinson Jr. Is this correct? Is this what I hear? Ooh. Abe says, I think I might take JSN for BTJ straight up, but Darnold's also so scary. I mean, they weren't drafted too far apart. You had, I think Brian Robinson, I say in all the drafts I did, his ADP was like 13 or 14, and JSN was like 25. So it was an early 3rd rounder versus an early 2nd rounder, 1 round of value. I'm not going to let one game sway me, but for me in my rankings, yes, I was still going to take Brian Thomas Jr. over JSN, but I never had that decision because they went a round apart. But like in a vacuum, if I had end of the 2nd round, Brian Thomas is there, I'm taking him over JSN. Now I think it's a closer conversation because JSN is that fucking offense. Like he had 125 receiving yards and Sam Darnold threw for 150 yards. Yeah, the JT news is scary. It's undisclosed at the moment. Like, fuck me, man. Like, I have Giddens in many more. I have Jonathan Taylor in 3 leagues, and I have Giddens in, like, 5 or 6. So, but there's a couple leagues I have Jonathan Taylor uncovered, which sucks fucking donkey dick, man. I love Jonathan Taylor because DJ Giddens is not going to be an RB1 like JT is. He might be a high-end RB2, though, because I think he's actually probably a better pass catcher than JT is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Story, but he comps as more of a 3rd down back than Jonathan Taylor ever would be. Anything else from this game? Michael Pittman showed out, 82%. Alec Pierce played a lot. Josh Downs. So I know Josh Downs was coming in nursing, I think it was a hammy. 49%. Only 2 catches, too. So drop Waddle and grab Giddens. No, you got to have someone worse to drop than Waddle. Let's not go down this Miami panic mode. I'm not panicking, but Waddle's still like a wide receiver 4. You got to have someone worse. What are your thoughts? Green bean, so sad for the Ravens. That was super sad for the Ravens, but you better be used to it if you're a Ravens fan because that just happens all the time. What are your thoughts on Josh Downs? Are you guys super worried about Josh Downs? The playing time's concerning. 2 catches is concerning. Michael Pittman seems to be the one there. Tyler Warren seems to be the one there, let's be honest. And then Pittman's the 2. So are you concerned about Josh Downs? Because I'm a little concerned. I don't have a lot of Downs. I like Josh Downs, the player, for sure. But 49% of the snaps and 2 catches. Don't worry. The Bills will bust out in the playoffs, heartbreaking fashion against this year, and hopefully in the hands of the Ravens. Abe says, my starting quarterback is Drake May. Don't worry about Drake May. Drake May only had, 11 yards rushing, which is just fucking crazy for Drake May. He wasn't running the ball. They were losing. I think that's going to be one of my big bets next week, depending on what the line is set at. Drake May's rushing total. He's going to be playing a little more frantic and because he had some embarrassing throws. So Drake May is going to be, I think Drake May has 50 yards rushing next week. That's just my saying. All right, if no one wants to comment on Josh Downs, I'll move on from Josh Downs. I'm a little worried about Josh Downs. Unless it's a super flex or 14-team league and drop Cam Ward. 100% drop Cam Ward for Giddens. Cam Ward's going to take a while. I don't know, week 9 maybe. We're going to move on. Tyler Warren, though, played 73% of the snaps. Would have been higher if it wasn't a blowout. I would expect that number to be 85. So he's an every snap tight end, which I love. We're moving on to the Texans, which was a dumpster fire. But Nick Chubb, 51% of the snaps in that game script, playing from behind, looked pretty good. It's kind of promising for me with Nick Chubb. I don't know, what do you guys think about Nick Chubb? But he looked better than I thought. He's going to get the goal line work. They're gonna score more than 9 points most weeks, so I'm pretty happy about Nick Chubb. Nico Collins, awful game, plays a lot. Everyone, look who played behind him, man. Of course they were doubling him. Better days ahead. Nothing to talk about on that fucking team. Packers, Josh Jacobs, 88%. I love that. Josh Jacobs, you're happy if you drafted Josh Jacobs. I mean, the defense is going to be amazing. They're going to have so many positive game scripts. The guy's going to have fucking 300 carries this year. We got to talk about this wide receiver room, though, because we were not sold. Like, we were lied to again by LaFleur about Matthew Golden being in every two wide receiver set and being an 85, 90% snap player. Bullshit. Romeo Doubs, 71%. Golden, 48. Wicks, 46. Reed, 38. They played Savion Williams. I know it was only 3 snaps. They gave him an end around. So, I don't understand. Can we trust anyone here? I think, here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing. Tucker Kraft. Sorry, it's getting covered up here. Tucker Kraft, 92% of the snaps. So, I'm not concerned about Josh Jacobs getting that much work, Abe. He's a fucking tank, man. That guy, he's sturdy as hell. I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm worried about McCaffrey getting that much work, not Josh Jacobs. They're around the same age. I think Jacobs is 28. But I think the answer is we're talking about what Green Bay receiver can you trust? I know Tucker Kraft only had 2 catches on 4 targets. They didn't throw the ball much. I think Tucker Kraft's the answer. And I'm not just saying that because I have Tucker Kraft everywhere and I mention him on every single show. He played 92% of the snaps. That's literally an every down player for a wide receiver. Definitely every down for a tight end. He played much more than any receiver on the field. So it's Tucker Kraft season, baby. Good call, Story. Reed looked really healthy, bro. And he only played 38% of the snaps. He looked like normal Jaden Reed playing through that broken bone in his foot. So I don't know if that was fake news or they overblew it. Dude, he's fine. Jaden Reed's fine. It's just he's not playing very much. You couldn't pay me to pick up McCaffrey earlier than round 4. I mean, he looks fine. He's going to be awesome. When McCaffrey plays, we've seen him. He actually looked pretty good. Maybe he lost a half step, but they're going to feed that fucking man. So I'm not too worried about. The thing is, I have Brian Robinson, and every week I have McCaffrey in. So I don't care. Like, I want them to use McCaffrey for 6 weeks. He'll be a RB2 after 6 weeks. And if he gets hurt, then I have Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson will probably be a top 10, top 12 running back. I'm fine with that. Nothing else here on the Packers. We'll move on to the Lions. Gibbs, 66% to Monty's 37%. The receivers were all, I think here's one of the stories here. Isaac Tesla had the catch of the year, honestly. It was in a blowout situation, last play of the game. 3 snaps. Khalif Raymond, 44 snaps. I think all those snaps going forward are just going to go to Tesla because I know he came into Sunday sick, and it was his first, as a rookie. So I think they just didn't play him the first, obviously until the last drive. He played 3 snaps, caught a touchdown. So I think those are Tesla snaps. He's going to play 44 snaps. If he's going to get Raymond's workload, 66% of the snaps, I'm in on Tesla as a high upside pickup. Thoughts on Tesla? Abe says, I think he's going to blow his heel out. Yeah, probably. That's fine. Use him until use him and abuse him and then whatever. If you have Brian Robinson, doesn't matter. And if you don't have Brian Robinson and you own Christian McCaffrey, please make that move because you'll thank me later because you're not getting a full season on a McCaffrey. All right. No more really thoughts about Detroit here. Denver. RJ Harvey, 29% of the snaps. 29. Let me repeat that. 29. I see Adam Prentice with 20%. And Tyler, it's Bidet, I believe it's pronounced Bidet, with 14 snaps. So, this is so Sean Payton. Why are you playing Bidet and Prentice, bro? Yeah, and Tesla, especially if there's an injury to St. Brown, Laporta, or JMO, Tesla is going to be an every week wide receiver 3, if you ask me. Abe says, I knew Dobbins was going to play way more than people were thinking. At least early in the year. But we all thought RJ Harvey was going to play more than 29% of the snaps. And this was a close game. So just wild, man. Just wild. Pat Bryant, fucking 5% of the snaps. That was one of my last picks in most of my leagues. He's dropped now. He's droppable. I don't know if you want to go out and grab Troy Franklin because this is going to change. And then Marvin Mims, we were sold as he's the wide receiver 2 there. For Marvin Mims, 53% is a lot. So that's an upgrade from what we've seen. But you can't trust anyone here besides Cortland Sutton. We got Evan Ingram that got hurt. I think it's an ankle injury, or was it a calf, ankle, some shit like that. So that's kind of an issue for Evan Ingram. He's always hurt. He's hurt again. He's kind of old. You gotta try to pick up someone else. You got Evan Ingram, like not even just if Ingram's out, but possibly replacing him for the whole year, because this is gonna be like a mini Green Bay situation where you just don't know who to trust. Thoughts on Booty for a pickup? We like it. It's not a trusted thing. It's more of a boomer bust. But for the next couple of weeks, until Diggs starts playing more snaps, Booty is going to be on the field every snap. And Drake May's a chucker. Doesn't seem like they can run the ball there in New England. Mike A. Brah. What's up? Why is Franklin going to change? Well, I mean, he played 60% of the snaps, but I think they're just going to rotate in and out. Mims might play more one game. Trent Sherfield got in the game. I think Pat Bryant's still in their plan. So it's like, I'm not looking to trust any ancillary weapon in the receiving core on the Broncos. Harold Fannin Jr., BD. That's definitely a pickup. So like Harold Fannin and Tesla are kind of in the same mold, where I think Fannin, especially because he plays tight end, is an easier start next week to trust, because you have a lower baseline, right, of what you need to be happy with. Tesla is more of a wait and see, but they're both like late season boom guys. We're going to move on, but the Harvey thing is super concerned. Like how worried are you guys about Harvey? Are you guys Harvey owners? And if you are, like, so I have Harvey in one league, I think, and I started him. Maybe it's zero or one leagues. Or I think my wife has Harvey in a league. I drafted Harvey for her in the 5th round. And I started him, and it wasn't great. He had a 50-yard run, which kind of saved his day, but he had one catch for -1 yard. So that's kind of an issue. Boys, 16 likes in this video. We need 34 more. I know that's a lot, but there's only 43 people in here. If we get 34 more likes, and I think we need 25 more subs, I'm giving away a free bet. I'll get your information. I'll place a bet on DraftKings. I'll Venmo you the money if you win. Free $10 bet. You got nothing to lose. Why the hell not? It's a come-in. So yeah, he says put Harvey on the bench and wait. It's hard to put Harvey on the bench, though, if you draft him in the 5th round. If that's your fucking RB2 and you don't have a Javonte Williams here's the thing. Is like Nick Chubb. Would you just start Nick Chubb over RJ Harvey the next couple weeks at PPR? Like, I don't know. I think I might just roll with Harvey, but it's hard to play a fucking a running back that's playing 22 snaps. It's rough, man. We are moving on to, this is the Dallas Cowboys. I guess there's really nothing to see here, right? Javonte Williams dominated the carries. Nothing to see here. This game happened a while ago. Here's an interesting one. Talking about Harold Fannin Jr. He played 72%. David Njoku played 84%. So they were out there a lot together. I love seeing Cedric Tillman, my boy, at 88%. So it was Judy and Tillman. So in their 3 wide receivers, if they were playing like 11 personnel, they were playing Fannin and Njoku together, and Fannin was playing as a wide receiver. If they're playing 12 personnel, they were playing both of them at tight end. So just to reiterate what we're talking about with Fannin, Abe says, I'm going to sit DeAndre Swift for Javonte next week. I would still start Swift, man. And I'm a huge Javonte guy. He was one of my pillar players. I think I would still roll with Swift one more week, because he almost had more of a workload, like more of a snap share, and was on the field more than Javonte Williams, if that's possible. So I think that he actually has worse running backs behind him than Javonte. And I guess you could say you like the Cowboys offense better, but I mean, they both score the same amount of points. That's a toss-up for me. I just think I would stick with Swift one more week. That's just me personally, though. Anyways, Jerome Ford, what a bust, man. He played 54% of the snaps and just did nothing. Dylan Sampson, 43%, but the guy had 8 catches. So we got to figure out what's happening with Judkins. I know they said he might come back this week, but there's still a suspension on the table. Doesn't seem likely at this point. It's just going to be a messy-ass backfield, because I feel like they're still going to give Ford some carries, and Sampson's going to be the passing down back, and then you have Judkins as the early down banger. With Kittle out, think Fann's worth putting in. 100%. 100% worth putting in. And Tunjay, I think his name is. There's the backup tight end for Kittle. And now we have news that Jennings is out. Unfortunately, if Purdy's out, you're not going to start a backup tight end, which is now going to be the starter for a couple weeks for the Niners. That could be a guy to look at, too. Obviously, Juwan Johnson. There's a lot of names out there at tight end. Thoughts on Isaiah Bond getting more snaps? I mean, he has a clear path as the number 3, right? Like, he does something different than Judy and Tillman do. Isaiah Bond's a burner. So Tillman is a pretty decent deep threat, but he's a big guy. He's like Nico Collins type. Isaiah Bond is like your Keontae Turpin. He's like your burner you can use in gadget plays. So I think he is going to earn a role. That's actually a really good point because in a really deep league, I think you could do worse than stashing a guy like Isaiah Bond. I don't know if he ever profiles as a guy that's going to like demand targets, and earn a lot of targets, but he could be a big play waiting to happen. And, I think they're going to trade Jerry Jeudy at some point this year. Well, Ford, I think we saw Ford getting phased out during that game because he was just super ineffective, looked terrible. Last year, Ford was pretty efficient, man. He looked terrible in this fucking game. We're going to move on to the Bengals. This is wild, bro. Bengals only ran like 50 snaps, 50 plays in this game. Chase Brown, I love this. I love seeing. Ooh, good call. Story says San Fran should trade for Jeudy. That would be a really good spot. Unfortunately, do you really want a team with Jerry Jeudy and Brandon Ayuk running routes for you at the same time? That's a little rough, bro. Like those two dudes. That's just a funny thought exercise in my head. So Chase Brown, we love seeing 75%. That is fucking awesome. Like this is what we were sold. This is what it was last year. Last year was maybe like 82%, but you see nothing else. Taj Brooks didn't touch the ball. P. Ryan only played on third downs. Love seeing that. Yoshi Vash, he's a stash just because if there's an injury to Higgins or Chase, but he's out there a lot. He's gonna have some games. So in like deep leagues and in like bye week season, if you have a lot of injuries, I think you can throw a dart throw in. If you can identify a shootout game for the Bengals, which should be a plentiful, Yoshi's kind of a guy to pay attention to. Mike Gesicki, 16 snaps, by the way. Fant and Sample played ahead of him, and Fant had the touchdown. Thank you, Story. That's what we talked about earlier. Appreciate you helping me with the chat. We have the Panthers. The Panthers fucking suck dick. They sucked multiple dicks. It was like a bukkake up in there, and it was led by Bryce Young, who's very short. He actually doesn't need to like get on his knees. He could probably just like suck off tall football players standing up because he's so short. This was like early season 2024 Bryce Young and rookie season Bryce Young. Terrible. Chuba Hubbard played a lot though. I like that. Dowdle got on the field a little bit. I think the takeaway here is they suck. I don't know what else to say. I don't really have any. Fant didn't go off, but you don't want to start Fants like. That's a tight end, like their tight end situation in Cincinnati is like the Green Bay receiver room. You just don't know if it's a Gesicki game, is it a sample game? Nice call, Story. We were questioning the Bryce Young in Carolina thing and that 5 or 6 game sample, which was great compared to his previous whatever it was 18 game sample. And this is a 1-game sample from this year, but it's not so much the stats, it's how it looked. It looked fucking terrible. Their offensive line looked bad. They literally have one playmaker. Leggett looked terrible, and I love Leggett. The fuck you doing, bro? Leggett. Ugh. Bills. Keon Coleman, 88%. Shakir, 71%. Josh Palmer. So it's going to be those 3 dudes. Those 3 dudes. I like that because Coleman was on the field so fucking much, bro. He played 75 snaps in this game. 75. So it's like one thing to play 88% of the snaps when the team runs 60 plays and you get like 50. He played 88% of the snaps and they ran like 80 fucking 5 plays. So Keon Coleman, he's a fucking workout beast right now. Ty Johnson, clear handcuff. No. The handcuff's still Ray Davis, man. Ty Johnson is their change of pace back. Ray Davis is still their handcuff. Ray Davis is their early down banger. He is their short yardage back. They just didn't get in that game script. They will. There's going to be games when they're winning that Ray Davis is going to outsnap Ty Johnson. But Ty Johnson, the problem is they're all 3 going to play, and that's also the issue with James Cook, is that you're looking at like literally a 3-man backfield where Cook gets 55%, and the other 2 guys split the other 40%. Yeah, Ty has his own role. Ty Johnson's role doesn't change. He would probably get, let's say James Cook got hurt. I think Ty Johnson would probably get 35 to 40%, and then you'd have like 55 or 60. You'd have the James Cook role would just go to Ray Davis. he'd get the short yardage work, he'd get the early down work, the majority of the work, if you will. But yeah, Ty's good. Cook did go off. It was a little weird because his value was on a short touchdown, which is what happens, and he had a 50-yard reception, which I can't believe he didn't score on, but I'm happy he didn't because I was against him in like 4 or 5 leagues. Dawson Knox. So Kincaid, let's not get ahead of our skis on Kincaid because Dawson Knox actually played more snaps. They are going to split that tight end position. Dalton Kincaid comes in. He is a situational and specialty tight end, passing downs only. They don't want Kincaid in the game on early downs when they're running the ball half the time. That's a worry, man. Brian says Bills offense is the most unpredictable in the NFL. If it's not Allen, I don't know. We're hoping this is Keon Coleman now. We're hoping James Cook, obviously, he's almost a touchdown a week guy. Kincaid and Knox, I just wish Knox would go away so we could play Kincaid, but he just can't block. He put on 15 pounds of muscle out here, but it must be like all, he must have got like his glamour muscles. He didn't actually do like squats and shit. So nothing to really talk about here. I think Josh Palmer, in terms of a deep league, if you want to stash, if there was an injury to Shakir, he's already playing 62% of the snaps, decent player, tied to Josh Allen. If something happens to Shakir or Coleman, I think he could do worse than Josh Palmer if he's available. I think he's rostered in most deep leagues, but he's gonna catch 5, 6, 7 touchdowns this year, right? Like if he's playing this much with Josh Allen, I think he is. We're gonna move on. A couple more teams here. What do we got? This is the Baltimore Ravens. Interesting. Mark Andrews, 75% of the snaps, only 38 snaps, but 1 catch, bro. It was in the first quarter. 1 catch. Are you guys worried about Mark Andrews? I'm personally not. This is the Mark Andrews experience because he's going to come out and have 3 catches for 40 yards and 2 touchdowns next week. But 1 catch in a game that had 81 points, where your team scores 40 points and you have 1 catch for 5 yards, that is wacky, dude. Wacky, wild shit. I'm still starting Mark Andrews. I think the thing with Mark Andrews is you just fucking start him. Like, you're going to have bad weeks. You're going to have boom weeks. You're going to get maybe 3, and sometimes you're going to get 18. It's not going to be like the smooth ride of, the Sam Laportas and not going to say Kelsey's a smooth ride anymore, but, those kind of guys. Hickey Son. That's a sweet name, Hickey. No worries. He gets his through touchdowns. That's his thing. I get you there, man. Brian says I'm out on Andrews. Too many tight ends. There are a lot, but like, are you really going to pick up Harold Fannin Jr. and start him over Mark Andrews next week? They play each other, right? It's the same matchup. You're going to seem like an idiot when the Ravens win by fucking 24 points and Mark Andrews catches 2 touchdowns and Fannin has 3 catches. Now, Jesse makes a good point. I am worried about Andrews when Likely comes back. And that was my worry. So early in the year when Best Ball, I was drafting in June, before Likely's injury, I had them a lot closer together than where they ended up. Obviously, Likely was undrafted in most leagues or like last round pick. But Likely, I think the biggest thing is, if you saw this in the game, without Likely, Zay Flowers is going to crush because that's just one less guy, and the offense runs through Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry. And that's what it always should have been, man. That's why I had Zay Flowers everywhere last year. It was such a frustrating ride because he had 4 touchdowns aside. It was inconsistent usage. And you saw this game, they made a very concerted effort to get Zay Flowers the ball in space and create, run him horizontally instead of just vertically. Because that dude, in man coverage, you cannot keep up with Zay Flowers. He's one of the quickest players in the league. That dude's awesome. So this is really, really, really awesome for Zay Flowers. I'm happy for him. And I know it's just one game, but I think this is going to be more to come from Zay Flowers this year. I think we were underdrafting him this year just because history of receivers with Lamar Jackson, no one ever performs consistently, that is. And I think this is going to change now. So if Zay Flowers can catch 7 touchdowns this year, he's going to be a top 20 receiver. 50, you're right. The catch from Hopkins might be the best catch of the year. Tesla's catch might have been better. They were close, dude. I mean, Tesla was like a 6-yard reception, so it wasn't like the ball wasn't coming as fast. Hopkins' catch was just unreal, man. DeAndre Hopkins, fucking love that guy. Love that. He's so chill, too. You see him after the catch, like, just chilling. Like, he wasn't even celebrating. He's just like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm DeAndre Hopkins. I'm probably high. Heckler, I got Justin Fields off waivers. My commissioner has till Tuesday at 3 a.m. Start Fields or Golf this week. Is it 4 for a passing touchdown or 6, Heckler? Because that changes it. That's a deciding factor for me. 6 for a passing touchdown, I'm starting Golf. 4 for a passing touchdown, I'm starting Fields. That's how close it is. I think the Lions are coming pissed off here. Hopkins always kind of looks high, right, Abe? And I know he had some shit in the past, that the hotel room incident. I mean, whatever, it's legal now. You know, smoke your fucking dope, Hopkins. Good for you. I'm smoking a vape. I'm drinking beer. I think it's 6. If it's 6, Heckler, I start Goff. Again, I'm the biggest Fields guy ever. I think that in 6 for a passing touchdown, like, you got to move Fields down a little bit. Fields is still a startable guy, but I like this spot for Jared Goff this week. Coming off that embarrassing game, the Bears' pass rush is not great. It looked okay tonight. It's not great. Both starting corners are hurt for the Bears. Like, I don't know how the Vikings didn't. We saw once the Vikings got their rhythm how easy it was for them to score on us. So I think the Lions could come out and put up, I want to say, 35 points against the Bears. If it was 4 for a passing touchdown, I would definitely tell you to start Justin Fields. So it's close. I'm not trying to fade Justin Fields this week. It's a tougher matchup, although the game script should be good. But like, Fields gets his points through his feet more likely, his legs. So I'm probably starting Goff just because Goff is safer, and I feel like Goff has 3 or 4 touchdown potential this week. Now, if it doesn't happen for Goff this week, if he has another dud, then fuck that. Drop him and just roll Fields all year. Should I play Fields over Herbert? Who do the Chargers have? Let's take a look here. I'll get to your question. I'm just looking at who the Chargers have this week. Chargers have the Raiders, man. At the Raiders. Oh, I would probably start Fields over Herbert, man. I think they're going to run the ball more in LA this week. Heckler says, I hate sleeper app. I think I wasted $52. I doubt anyone else bid on him. Abe says, I play Flowers over Devontae, no question. Metcalf may be a coin flip, but I really like Flowers. I'm a little worried about Devontae Adams, man. Puka's just the guy there, and I guess I misread that situation. I thought Adams was going to be a 1B, and it looks like he's like a 2, which isn't bad. It's still Devontae Adams, but they run the ball around the goal line. They have such a good defense. I got to wait and see for Devontae Adams a little bit. Yeah, sleeper app sucks, man. Chargers are at Vegas. Thank you, Abe. We got Jordan saying, what's your thoughts on Jacoby Myers or Chuba Hubbard flex? So, Jacoby is in that game against the Chargers, and Chuba is at the Cardinals. I think I'm playing Chuba still, man. I think there's no way that the Panthers could be worse than they were last week. I mean, maybe they are, but I don't think so. Can I say my team and bench, and you tell me who to start? I mean, yeah, of course, man. Sorry, Mike Story, the moderator in here, he's the dude. He can help you out with that as well. But yeah, go ahead, bro. That's what we're here for, right? Also, we got 16 likes. We still need 34 likes in this video and like 20 subs. I'll give away a free bet. I'm gonna bet a game for you, whatever line you want. If you win, I pay you the money. I Venmo you. No risk to any of y'all, dude. We're answering your questions the next half hour. I got half a beer left. It is already 2 in the morning. God damn. Time flies when you're having fun. But, yeah, you can put your name on here. I'm going to get to the last team here. We got a couple more snap shares to talk about. It's just 2 teams. So, this is the Falcons. We have Bijan 83%, which is nice. Drake London could be out. He could be out a week or 2. He has a hip pointer. I think the biggest thing I take away from this game is Casey Washington looked pretty good. I know Ray McLeod plays a lot in 3 wide receiver sets typically when Mooney's healthy. Mooney's out, might not be back next week. If Drake London misses, I think Ray McLeod is going to be the popular ad. I actually think it's Casey Washington. He's going to take the Drake London role. Just a name to pay attention to. Also, Kyle Pitts, probably a must start if Drake London's out. Probably a must start. Nothing else in that game. We'll talk about the Cardinals here real quick. James Conner and Trey Benson. Kind of what I predicted here, 60, 65, 33. I said it was me a 60, 40. Trey Benson looked great. James Conner kind of looked old. I don't know if you guys saw the game, watched any of the film. James Conner looked fucking old, bro. And he is old. Trey Benson had an amazing run, like a 45, 50-yard run, where he just like, the linebacker originally and then the safety after both like underestimated his speed, and like he got the corner on him and then just did a little hesitation move and then got around the other guy. So Trey Benson, I love Trey Benson, man. He is one of your elite handcuffs, I would say. And I have him everywhere. So I can't wait for James Conner. I don't want to root for injury on anyone. James Conner with his little 3-4 week hamstring injury. Trey Benson season, baby. Marvin Harrison, 89%. Super encouraging usage. They gave him a screen pass. He ran 22% of his routes out of the slot. Last year, I think he ran like 22 total routes out of the slot. Love that. Love that usage. That's about it on them, and that's about it for all the snap shares, gentlemen. Abe says, I have Patriots defense at the moment. Projections just refreshed because it's at midnight. They have the pass defense projected for 4.32 against Miami, and I think there's no way that's that bad. One thing I'll tell you and everyone, definitely on defensive projections, don't look at them. Don't look at projections. We all know these players, right? We know how much they play, wide receivers, running backs. Projections, it's for the sheep, bro. I mean, it's a guideline, but like, the Dolphins are a dumpster fire, bro. Patriots defense, they actually didn't play that bad. They got burned on a couple deep passes against the Raiders, but they're an improved unit, and they're going to be a hungry team. There's a chance that the Dolphins are the bottom 5 team in the league, so I would probably start the pass defense. We got Hiram's team. We got Brock Purdy, St. Brown, Tyreek. He's got Genty, Breece Hall, Njoku at flex, Devontae Adams, DK, Devontae Adams, benches, Aaron Jones, Zay Flowers, Justin Fields, Herbert. I mean, that's a really good fucking team. You have some questions of who you're going to start, though. I think you have to start Zay Flowers, like, for the foreseeable future. Zay Flowers is entering the wide receiver 2, like the every week wide receiver 2 discussion. So I would definitely be rolling Zay Flowers over Devontae Adams every day. I am so happy I have 0 Devontae Adams shares, honestly. But I do have to get off here in a couple minutes. I got to walk my dog. It is getting late. I will say, Kraft or Jonnu Smith or Loveland. It's Tucker Kraft, baby. It's always Tucker Kraft. Jonnu Smith's usage is going to be inconsistent week to week. They're not going to score fucking 34 points every week. Tucker Kraft is playing every snap on an elite offense as the number 1 target. Honestly, I'll say number 1 target on that offense. Thank you, Story, for helping out Hiram. Appreciate you guys. All you guys. I appreciate all you guys. Tomorrow night, we are doing, I don't know the time yet. We are doing the waiver wire show where we're going to go through and find guys that are available in shallow leagues, guys that are available in most leagues, and then guys that are only available in deep leagues, help you out. We're going to talk about our streaming defenses we love to pick up if you like to stream defenses, streaming kickers, just general fantasy conversation like we're having, answering your questions. I should have my laptop tomorrow. We're going to have Story hopefully on the feed, be a lot more user-friendly, the same content, same mug right here, me drinking beers, answering your question, having a good time, all that shit. Going forward, I'm going to be doing 7 shows. So I might take Wednesday off, but Sunday I'll be doing 2 shows. I'll do the start-sit show Sunday morning, and then I'll do a Sunday recap. Other than that, we have the gambling show on Friday. We are doing something on Saturday. What do we have? I can pull up the schedule for you. I'm going to get the times for everyone. But what is it? What do I have here? I had them somewhere. What did I do with them? Maybe I don't have them. Anyways, 6, 7 shows a week, whatever. I'll be on live a lot. If you subscribe, hit the bell, whatever. You don't have to hit the bell. It's kind of annoying, but you'll see when I come online, so you can join. A lot of really cool people in these chats. A lot of positivity, which is cool. Like, the goal here is for everyone to make money, right? On the gambling stuff, we can all eat, right? Like, none of us are in the same league together besides me and Story. And actually, we're only in 1 league against each other, and we have 1 co-managed league. But I'm not trying to keep any information from anyone, and a lot of my league mates do watch this shit, and a lot of people stole Tucker Kraft from me this year. I play in enough leagues, in a lot of public leagues, that I don't care about giving some of my secrets away. I'm not always right. I'm wrong 40% of the time. But the 60% is what matters because those guys really hit. Justin Fields. If you listen to me and Story, you would have Justin Fields on every one of your fantasy teams, as a lot of times he was going as a quarterback too. That's a league-winning pick, baby. That's a league-winning pick. If you listen to Story, you would take a Tyler Warren everywhere. Tucker Kraft on my end. Those kind of things. That's what we're trying to do. Week-to-week knowledge, all the info. That's what's up. I appreciate all you guys, and I am getting off. So thanks for the positivity, and hopefully tomorrow night, I would say around 10 or 11 p.m. Central Time, we'll do the waiver show, answer your questions. It'll be a good time. Thank you. Hire and